Hiya, my name is Linsey Willaford West. I'm the founder of eTeamUps, a tool that helps companies predict and improve team performance based on work style. So why is it important to get the best out of your teams? Well, in today's modern workplace, the vast majority of work is done in some sort of team environment. There's lots of different factors that affect performance of teams. So some of them is sort of the task at hand, whether or not it's maybe just simple execution or it's something that requires a high degree of creativity or innovation. It's also about the constraints, so where people are located, what kind of communication tools they're using, things like that. Then you have behaviors of the team, so the types of communications, their work ethic, all of those kinds of behaviors. But then you also have the actual makeup of the team, so the people themselves, the kind of skills and expertise that they're bringing to the table. Obviously, it's quite clear that you need those, but it's also about the work style, so the approach that people bring, the unique perspectives that they bring, and the way that they work. That's very important as well to improving team performance. So now that we can't dope them, how can we improve performance? Does anyone want to just shout out a best practice or a key tip? Okay, feeling a bit shy. It's okay, no problem, I've got some on hand. So firstly is you can improve team behaviors. So things like communication, trust of one another, the reliance on one another, accountability. Obviously all of those things really do help. And then the second top tip is getting the right team composition. So again, making sure that the people that you have the right skills and experience to do the job, but also are bringing the right work style that complements the rest of the team for the greatest degree of compatibility and effectiveness. So next then is, how do you predict team performance? Again, anyone want to shout out a top tip on predicting team performance? Nope? Okay, all right, well, got them all here for you. It's all about getting the right team composition. So again, making sure you've got the right skills and the right work style. So there's lots of tools out there that help you to get the right skills on board. Obviously, there's some sophisticated CV crawlers. There are some nice aptitude tests. There's lots of different resources to help you to identify those kinds of things. But how do you identify work style? A lot of companies at present are kind of doing this sort of based on a gut feel. Maybe they're using some scorecards, but at the end of the day, it's really human judgment. And obviously, human judgment, hugely important. There is no tool in the world that will ever replace human judgment. However, there are some tools out there that can help to add a bit of science and rigor and help improve that human judgment, make those decisions a little bit faster and a little bit more accurate. So that's where eTeamUps comes into play. It's a tool that reveals work style insights. So if you think about the whole candidate, obviously you have on one side skills and experience, but then on the other you have work style and team fit, which is precisely where eTeamUps helps. Oh, and I should mention, so eTeamUps doesn't replace anything that you're currently using. It's actually quite complementary to what you guys are currently using. Human judgment obviously being one of those things. So why our customers love eTeamUps? Well, firstly, they can use it in lots of different ways, and they can use it at various different stages of the process. So clearly, the reason why we're here is because you can use it for hiring and in the hiring and selection process. But then once they've been hired, it's a great tool to help you to fit them within the organization, as well as help sort of integrate them and onboard them so that they can be most effective with the teams that they're going to be working with. These kinds of things lead to increased engagement, reduced churn, and ultimately improved performance. I know there's a lot of buzzwords that have been spoken about today, but the research that our proprietary tool is built on is really the very, very cutting edge of organizational psychology and what the key things are that really do drive engagement and performance. There's some great tools out there with 30 years of data, and that's really great. But this really is the leading edge of research. It's also very, very easy to use. It's very, very light touch. It takes about 10 minutes to complete the survey. It's very easy to understand. You don't need to bring in an expensive consultant to help you interpret the results. Actually, it's so easy to understand. It's based on a traffic light and very visual system that you can do it yourself. And you can very quickly identify some of the things that you need to maybe talk about or bring up in the interview stage. And then finally, it's very affordable. So it's sort of an all-you-can-eat kind of package so that you can actually look at your entire team, your entire organization, and profile them and better understand the teams within your organization and how they can be more effective working together, as well as when you're bringing in the new generation of employees, how you can fit them in with your existing organization and teams. So how it works, pretty simple. Firstly, you request the team members who are already in place and line managers to complete the survey. You also invite the candidates to complete the survey. As I mentioned, it takes about 10 minutes. There's a second mysterious step in there. You notice it goes 1, 3, 4. So the second sort of mysterious step is the one that eTeamUps does in the background, calculating these compatibility scores. So that leads you to step number 3, which is reviewing the compatibility scores based on the assessments. And then finally, you view your reports and you help make decisions, or at the very least, use the information as a platform for discussion. eTeamUps doesn't say yes or no, hire this person or don't hire this person. It gives you some clues as to things that might help you to make that decision. I should mention, when I talk about compatibility, a lot of people think it's about love, and maybe you can date the person that you're going to hire or something like that. It doesn't mean that at all in the context that we're using it in. Anyway, so compatibility actually means different things for different dimensions. We look at 17 different dimensions that are proven effective in predicting team performance. And for some of the dimensions, it's all about like for like. So yeah, the more similar you are in your value system, the more effective you will be together. That's true. But then there's some other dimensions where you want to maximize the diversity, and then other dimensions that you want to maximize the overall team average. So when I say compatible, it doesn't mean that it's a team of clones, or it's all like for like, or they're really going to get along really well, because actually we know that some of the best and highest performing teams don't actually love each other. In fact, there's a little bit of healthy conflict there. So hopefully they can tolerate each other. They can go out for beers in the evening, but they don't necessarily always get along and always agree with each other. Here is what a compatibility report looks like. You can see it looks quite a lot different than other things you might have seen before. You see right there at the top, it gives you an overall compatibility score, and then a very visual summary of the areas of a degree of compatibility. Then getting into a little bit more of the detail, and I should say detail, it's only a couple of pages, so it's not incredibly detailed. Again, it's very light touch and easy to use. But you can see that there are some sort of red, green, and amber flags, and tips as well. So it's not just to tell you, here is something about the candidate, but it also goes that next step and says, because this candidate is like this, here's a tip for managing them more effectively. And that's about the end. I know it's a cheesy picture here, but I feel like these people look really happy, and that's what eTeamUps is all about. It's making people happier at work, and they're performing better, they're more engaged, they're staying around longer. If you're interested, curious to know what a profile looks like, I'd invite you to fill one in. Like I said, it takes 10 minutes, and we'd be happy to give you a compatibility report with someone on your team that you might be curious in checking out. So thank you very much.